been an area where they've needed for the past few years. So to see them address, I think is a good thing. I think going forward, they address the bigs right here. It doesn't necessarily seem to pan out. Kind of hopeful for development in that area, but I wasn't seeing them take a big round. This guard with Veronica Bird helped them in that area.
Yeah, I thought they were fine at guard. I thought that they could have used the big, to be honest. And then you still have like Kunane, you still have you still have Naz, you still have these bigs available. So I that's where I would have gone. But I mean, a good defense is definitely good to have. So why not?
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't. I feel like her draft stock kind of dipped a little bit just because of the tournament and not making it into the tournament. So that's what sucks. I'm glad that she did go at 7. I was shocked because just like you, Andrea, I didn't think that the Wings needed another guard. I was thinking they would go big. Um, but hey, maybe they have like, some plans for her. They got Enrique, so maybe they'll figure something out. So she went 7, 6, Lexi Hole to the Fever. Complete shock. I just didn't think that. I thought they were going to go Kunane, if anything. Just because for me, I thought I had Lexi Hole in my head going to Connecticut, just because I feel like she's a player that is explosive. She would be good maybe off the bench for Connecticut, maybe come in, uh, hit a few threes, because when she's at Stanford, they'll be up maybe 2 going into the half, come out of the half, all of a sudden she's got 11 in 5 minutes. That's her. For me, that's what I think of when I think of Lexi Hole. Like I think, she's someone who comes and she's explosive. So I'm a little shocked about that. What do you guys think about the Fever choosing Lexi Hole at 6?
I think
think
in
they
a
find
way it's a
yeah.
in a way to me it's a little, I won't say concerning, but it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with. It's like they're putting together these ragtag group of just random talents, and like you've been saying this whole show, it's all about how they put it together and make it work. It's a little bit concerning, I think, just because I don't know, the depth is going to be interesting and how they adjust and play everybody.
Definitely, definitely. I completely agree. Like we said earlier, it's very like preference. Like literally, not saying these girls are like not good, but everyone can be used. Like the Fever can use everyone, the Wings can use everyone, the Dream can use everyone, the Liberty can use everyone. Like everyone is needed at this point. So it's kind of hard to predict where people are gonna go. Andrea, you look like you were about to say something.
I think they have too many guards. Because
Yeah.
you look at Bria Hartley and Jasmine, and then you have both the Mitchells. Like I think that you're just doubling down on that. Maybe more presence down low probably could have been beneficial, but hey, hopefully, like you
They
guys
got
said,
like 16,000 more picks. So
do something. And I would have traded for Beyond, honestly, to
yeah.
think about the future. But I mean, pick while you at it, I guess. Maybe you can
Yeah.
get something during training camp.
Part of
Somebody
me-
leaves and you can.
Part of me wonders if some of these teams where they're picking players like the Wings and like the Fever, where they're picking guards and we're not really sure why they're picking these positions, it makes me wonder if there's some foreshadowing of roster shakeup for those that are already on the roster. There's some big moves on the line that we don't even know about.
Definitely. And now we have the Las Vegas Aces. Their pick is in. This is, I don't like the draft because you think you know someone. Like, you think you know someone. I just knew that Kunane was coming off the board. Like, you think you know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that really caught me off guard. Wow, I love that the draft. I don't know if it's because it's live or if it's this class, but this draft is exciting. Like I'm intrigued. I am truly intrigued. Okay, so pick is in. Las Vegas Aces. They take Maya Hollingshed from Colorado. Um, that was interesting. I did not. I don't think I had her in the first round for me. Um, yeah, I know they needed a big, but I thought they were gonna go like center. So I'm very, 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 very shocked about that. I think that um, the Aces every year they're always like one piece short.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always playing catch up to, if it's not the sun, it's the storm. If it's not the storm, it's the sky. If it's not the sky, it's the sparks. Like I feel like they are always playing catch up. So with this pick, how do you guys feel about the Aces really? Because this is a team that's good. I feel like this is like the first team we're seeing make a pick that's actually, a contending team before their pick was in. So, what do you guys think about, or what do you guys expect to see from the Aces? Even it doesn't have to really relate to the pick, but since they just picked, like, what do you guys expect to see from the Aces this year, this upcoming season?
I think you kind of expect for them to figure out a way to capitalize without, you know, big. So a pick like first, because it kind of makes you go, well, what are they trying to shake up since they push for another trade or something like that. But she can come to source right now. That I don't know, maybe 48 but you kind of expect to see how they function without risk and pieces of so
Yeah, I think it was kind of weird because I feel like when Cambage came back, it kind of made the offense weird. Like it
It
didn't look
did.
like Wilson looked so, it just looked like she
Free.
didn't belong there.
Yes, she
Um,
was much more free without her.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything like, because I don't know, but she just I don't know if she really fit because Liz Cambage is a monster, but I don't
Mhm.
know if she fit within that offense because that offense has to get like ran by like Aja. Like it has to. Like it
Mhm.
has to get ran by her. So um I'm I'm excited to see what the Aces do. Hopefully they can like get over that hump um and have the necessary pieces help them, make it further. Andrea, you were gonna say something.
Having a big that can shoot though, like we already said they wanted to reemphasize really shooting the ball. I believe that's what I'm forgetting her name right now. It's slipping me. I know her name. New coach. Geez, I'm forgetting her name. For the
For
Aces. For the Aces. I'm forgetting her
Becky
name.
Hammond?
Yeah, Becky Hammond. Becky Hammond said that she wanted to reemphasize like spacing things out. And I think that Aja being the primary threat down low, I think that allow her all the freedom to operate. She doesn't worry about how Liz clogging up or getting into the way. She can just operate. So having a big with this new draft pick that can shoot the three, get outside, but then can also to get rebounds, not as big as you would like, especially to not as big as Luke Cambage. Not a lot of players are as big as Luke Cambage, but at least you have that ability to where you're spaced out better so you can allow Aja to work.
No, I completely agree. Um, and I hope that, and it's funny because when the move happened, like it didn't, I was like, woo, but I was more, I think both teams kind of won. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, and that's kind of weird because she's such a good player. That when you usually lose a good player, it's never good. But sometimes it has to happen in order for the offense to run, in order for the chemistry to work. And I think that she's going to do great in LA. Like, I think LA is another team, to look out for as well. Like, I'm so excited for this WNBA season just because there's so many moving pieces. And now we have this class coming in. So I kind of wanted to, before the next pick comes in, like, I kind of wanted to get into that. Like, as far as teams in the WNBA, like what storylines are you guys like really interested in coming into this season?
I think one for me, it's two teams. It's how much longer are Sue and Diana going to keep playing? Just because it's like the older they get, the better they get. They're slowing down a little bit, but not a whole lot.
We talk about LeBron, but like DT and Sue Bird.
Oof.
Every year they show up and they're a problem, and they're not slowing down, and it's amazing. So I think seeing them continue, I think this season's gonna be a huge indicator of how much longer they're gonna keep playing. So just kind of seeing how these new players mesh in with them and start to learn from them will be very interesting to see.
I am team Mean Girl Squad. Okay, I really like the Sparks. All right, I think they have a whole bunch of personalities. It's gonna be fun, even if it don't go right. It's gonna be a treat. I'm really excited to see Kennedy. I was so disappointed that Atlanta got rid of her. I was so excited. I love Trae Young coming out of college. He came to Atlanta. I was hyped. I was like, oh, I get Kennedy too. Oh my gosh, it's my birthday. And then Renee Montgomery jailed her. I was so upset. So now she is free. She can operate. I'd really like to see her play with Liz Cambage too. And then they have a whole bunch of other guards as well. And then he also talked about Sue and DT. I think Sue still has a lot left in the tank. I think DT kind of doesn't though.
Yeah, that back ain't it ain't working with her.
It ain't too. And this is going to be the last hurrah for the Storm. And so the Storm is the team that really got me intrigued in the WNBA. So it's going to be sad. Hopefully they can put something together, but there's a lot of other teams out there. It's going to be hard for them to make it over the top.
Yeah, and the pick is in for the Sparks, since we were just talking about them, and I wanted this to happen. This is actually now my second favorite pick. Like Ray Burrell to the Sparks. I loved her in Tennessee. I think that this year was a struggle for her, and I think that her stock did go down just a little tiny bit, but I love this pick for the Sparks. I think that it fits perfectly. You've got Cambage, you've got they're stacked. Kennedy Carter, Jordan Canada is now
Jordan
there.
Canada. I love Jordan Canada too.
Like this team is, I think they're coming back for revenge. Because like last year they missed the playoffs and that hasn't happened in I think 10 years. And so I'm excited to see, even though I think they did my girl Candace Parker wrong, but that's okay. But I'm excited to see what this team is going to do. And I think that she fits perfectly with this team.
I think that's one of the fun things is with every year as the league grows and matures, it's just kind of now we have rivalries and reasons for people to come back and get it back in blood. So that's another thing that's really fun about every new season. Like you said,
and I love
Candace
it.
Parker.
Yes, and I love the fact that first of all, the WNBA is messy because why are the Sky and Sparks playing the first game to watch Candace Parker get her ring? Yeah. That's messy. Kathy is messy. Kathy is very messy.
The girls love it though. I will love it. Okay.
And I mean, and that's the team that I think I'm excited for. I think for me, my storyline that I'm most excited for, I want the Sky to repeat. Like they're bringing back everyone. And, they don't have any picks in this draft, but they don't need it. Like they are literally bringing back everyone. I think they're going to be the team to beat just because they did just come off a championship. They do have players, and I think their players are getting better. They got Candace Parker, they got Copper, they got Quigley. Like they have a team. So I think they are the team. Very mature. So I think they are the team to beat, and I would love to see them repeat because we haven't seen that in a very, very long time.
I like this pick for the Fever.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I'm looking at a pick, it's the Fever. Like just stop the draft.
A million picks.
Just stop the draft and just let the Fever just pick. Like this, it's crazy.
I think we're going to see a lot of movement and trades during the season this year with all these just these random pieces moving around. I don't know how it's going to shake out.
I was going to say random too. I just didn't know if it had like a mean like vibe to it. But these are like they're random pieces. Like it's
Yeah.
very because we don't know what to expect. So I think these teams are going to look completely different than what they're looking like right now. All I know is that the Fever, I need them in the playoffs within the next 2 years. It has to.
Man.
Like it has to happen. I can't say this year because that wouldn't be fair. You know, like they have a young team. Like I said earlier, they move some stuff in the front office. So it wouldn't be fair. But like by next year and the year after, because I'm sure they'll have about 3 draft picks next year too. Um, I don't know. I just think that the picks that their first like 3, I feel like they like hit it out of the park. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't succeed. And they have an okay team. Like their team is not bad. Like they have an okay team. So I just feel like there's no excuse for them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's interesting. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I felt like we came into this draft feeling like a bunch of UConn players were going in the first round, and none of them have been called yet. Not a one UConn.
I think it's time. It's a change of the guards. I think it's interesting. I've been a UConn fan all my life, and this may make me a bandwagoner, but I'm South Carolina now.
Oh wow!
No, you're not a bandwagoner. You choosing the right ship, all right?
Yeah.
South Carolina messed around and dropped all their stock. Like,
we love to see it.
Honestly, but I wasn't, and this is crazy because I'm a UConn fan. I'm a UConn women's fan as well because I'm in Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut, so to watch this team, I was speechless watching that team. Like I have never seen a team like that, and not in a good way.
I was watching the Sue and Diana broadcast rather than the regular one, and they were kind of shady on it about
as they should.
Oh,
you gotta earn your keep in UConn. You gotta earn your keep. And these girls, like I was truly disappointed in Kristen Williams. I was very disappointed in how she played in the championship game. And I feel like that kind of dropped her stock. And it stinks because like she was a good player throughout her years at UConn, but like you have to show up. You have to show up during on the big stage. And that was the biggest stage. And it's not even because they lost, but she did not show up. Like Paige was fighting for her life.
For her entire life. She had a million, Destiny was on her and she was still trying to get buckets.
She was on her and she was fighting for her life and she was nowhere to be found. Now Westbrook, she was okay. She was okay. She made some mistakes, but I think that game, I don't know. I feel like now it's like you're only as good as your last game. Honestly, and it stinks, but it is what it is.
That's a problem with prestige, right? You look at UConn for having the prestige that they had. Grace, you talked about for years. They have been, how many straight Elite Eights, Final Fours has they been to, right? When you go to UConn, you're expected to be a player. Even if you're on the bench, honestly, too, you could probably still even get a card and picked up, man.
All-Americans on the bench.
Come on now. They have a loaded roster. So if you don't show up to it, especially too, you could see this kind of coming for this UConn team because they were fighting with Gino the entire year and not winning crucial things that they needed to and going back and forth. So you could see that there was a lot of heat going on. And also too, Grace, you talked about, prestige and on all these different things. They used to have everybody, a monopoly on everybody, and now everybody's being free and they want to go against the guard and say, I can beat them. So good on them. And I'm glad that a lot of these players are going elsewhere, but it sucks for Williams, man. It sucks.
It does.
I don't want to put it on Gino because obviously the players are the ones on the court, but it makes me wonder if we're seeing the beginning of the end for him because he, like you said, he previously he brings that dog out of every player that's played for him. and I don't think he's tapped into this group yet.
Is it the okay? We'll come back to this because this is interesting. Like that is really interesting. The Aces, Kirsten Bell, she dropped. I thought she was gonna go a little bit
Earlier.
higher.
Yeah.
But I think because of the small school,
Mhm.
but I mean, she dropped like 20 plus on Virginia Tech. So I mean, what are we really saying? So like you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'll continue to say it. The tournament is so important because who's to say like she would have gotten drafted this high without that one game.
Mhm.
But I do think I think that she's good. I think that I thought she was going to be a little bit higher, but I do think that she fits with the Aces. I think that it works for them. The Aces got a few draft picks. I didn't know they had this many. I'm like the Aces again. I'm looking like the Pittsburgh.
Are we seeing a changing of the guards, literally, but all these big guards in the women's game? This is,
Yeah,
you know,
huge.
I
growing
love
up
it.
with me being a small guard and just that being the dynamic of the game. It's so fascinating to see how things evolve as this young talent comes through.
Yeah, because you look at what is it like? I think Fran Believe is like 6'3" and she's a forward. All of these guards are like 6'1", 6'2". Raina's 6'2" as well. So I love it too. I love this because this versatility, getting more length from the wings and everything like that, that's going to be huge going forward. It'll make it harder though for some of these shorter guards to get their work and to keep their worth.
No, I completely agree with that. I want to get back to because that was interesting as far as UConn and that UConn dynasty that we were talking about. I think that I don't think that it's being talked about enough, honestly. Because the whole thing that happened with when Paige got injured, and they were losing those games. There were some games that they should not have been losing. It doesn't matter who is out. You know what I'm saying? Like you cannot lose to Georgia Tech. Like that's not no shade. No shade. But you can't, with or without shade, with or without Paige, you should not be losing.
There was shade though.
There was a little shade. But I don't, because I'm not huge on Gino. I think that he like is incredible, but I don't know if I would blame him or like, is it just the talent pool? Like people aren't going to Connecticut. Because like you got to look at, people are going to South Carolina, people are going to Stanford, people, I mean, they were going there before, but it was maybe like one or two players. That's why these teams, like Wiggins, when she wasn't beating UConn, and you know, when Candace Parker was playing, she got the best of them. But like, you know, but like it's just like there were always like maybe one or two players. Like now these teams and these programs, like they have rosters. And UConn isn't used to that. I don't know if I would blame Gino. I think it's the talent pool. Like, I don't think that these girls are good that he's getting, honestly.
But you kind of wonder what's making other people choose to go elsewhere, because there was a time where everybody wanted to go to UConn and be a part of that. And now you have the South Carolinas coming to rise, and you know, other schools coming into play that kind of shake things up. So what is the difference to make them say, not UConn this time? You know what I mean? But something that was interesting to me, we talked about them losing games they shouldn't have lost. They were just bad from the free throw line this year. And I can't for the life of me understand how that is. Like it's one thing for you to make mistakes here and there, you know, during the play of the game, but for you to just be bad at the strike, that's a totally different thing that you wouldn't expect from a school like UConn.
No, and along with that, even like watching them in the tournament, like those turnovers, like the way, like just the sloppiness and there was like, it looked like there was no discipline. Like, and I mean, I guess that is as far as it is coaching. Like, it just looked like they were just sloppy and they were just throwing the ball away and they just weren't thinking, they weren't ready. Like, for some of those predicaments they got into with South Carolina, like they just didn't look like they were prepared. So I will say, that's all on the coaching. Like you have to prepare your team. Like if your team is out and they're not hitting free throws. They're turning the ball over ridiculously. Like that's preparation.
And one thing you could say, like, Dawn has never had her team look not prepared. All right. Even when they weren't shooting shots, they were always together defensively. They always had that unlocked. Tar Vanderveer, too, always, like, Stanford just didn't make shots their last game in the NCAA tournament, but they always had that consistency to that flow. There was a little bit of flow in the first half of that last NCAA game, but for the most part, they're prepared. And so you look at those cultures, those teams. First of all, if I want like a swag, I want to be close to home. Like if I'm in the South, something like that, I'm going to end up going to Don. Like period. That's somebody I look for, like a good role model, right? Someone I want to be a part of. You also look at too. Stanford has an excellent academic program as well. If you want to do other things outside of it, I think Fran Belibi, I don't know if she's changed it, but I think originally before she was looking for a squad to go to. She wanted to be a doctor, right? She was like, oh, this basketball thing is cute, but I really want to be a doctor. So you look at Stanford, that's an excellent program. UConn, especially too, if Gino isn't really connecting with these younger girls, then and you guys aren't winning and you guys aren't having a monopoly on talent, then it becomes less attractive to go towards them when you have all these other coaching programs. And now you have other prestigious programs as well in the women's basketball sports, a game to go to. Why would you go to UConn, especially too, it's cold?
That's true. No, that is true. And like that's really crazy because like I grew up watching UConn and I've seen Gino bench like a Maya Moore. Like I've seen him bench like ridiculous. Like I've seen him bench like a Sue Bird. Like if you are playing bad, like you are not staying in the game. And those girls were playing bad, literally. Like they were doing the same, they were turning the ball over, they weren't hitting free throws. Like the old Gino, I'm gonna sit you until I think that you're ready. Mm-hmm. And he just doesn't, I mean, and maybe that's with the old age, maybe he's getting a little softer. Maybe he thinks that people aren't coming to UConn because of that, because he's so strict. Like I think if the coaching style is a little different and you can clearly see it because they were too comfortable with playing that bad.
It showed he doesn't trust his bench.
Yep.
And I've never seen him have a roster that deep with that. It's interesting. I've never seen that kind of UConn team before. And it makes me wonder if players are just tired of going to a place where everybody automatically hates you as a team with this culture of these players being able to have more personality and more of a brand. They want to go to schools where they're not hated automatically just because of the school, but for their talent at least. So it's interesting.
And there's an element to this where you kind of want to play with a coach that you maybe more relate to or who's more relatable for you. And I think with like players going to UConn, Dawn Staley is just that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She can relate to them at a different level and she's been to where they're trying to go. And so it's just different being coached by her than someone else. Yeah, UConn has been the powerhouse, but Dawn Staley has brought that program up. And now they're a powerhouse, you know what I mean? And so if I'm choosing between the two, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to go with who I more relate to. And so I think that's just becoming an element in that as well.
And they're becoming their own dynasty. Like,
yep.
They are at this point, like they're becoming a dynasty and we're like watching it because even next year they have the same, everyone's coming back. Almost everyone like is coming back. So I think this might be the start. I think we'll see after next year, like after those juniors go on and go to the league, like we'll see like who, if she's going to be recruiting the, top 5 players, like that's when we'll start to see that shift. And it's going to be very scary. Like if UConn continues to play this bad, people like players are not going to want to be there. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the start of the downfall of UConn. And that is tough. Like that is something that women's basketball has not seen, like literally.
As much as I've loved watching UConn growing up and my whole life, being a fan of Sue, being a fan of just all Diana, just modeled my game as a player after Diana, but seeing how they kind of dominated the game for so many years with the UConn Tennessee, Duke, North Carolina. I think it's time for a new wave of schools to be able to be on top. So I think this is a really special time for the college game to see this transition.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because UConn used to have not only the monopoly prestige, but also too, like, because ESPN in Bristol is like right around the corner, they would have like the eyes on them because of that. That's why, like, Paige, people were still talking about Paige, even though she was long hurt, because, well, Bristol's right around the corner. We were used to UConn having that, the UConn industrial complex. They're used to having eyes on them. So it'll be interesting. I'm glad these players are going other places. It's going to be interesting to see if players go there just because of the ESPN thing, and then they can have a shinier, brighter star on them. And so that'll kind of keep them up and going for a long time. But again, why not go to Stanford's? Why not go to, maybe Tennessee is trying to do some things too. Stanford, South Carolina, they're a lot more, Louisville too. Like, why not go to all these different places? Texas is looking pretty nice as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's all in that as far as like the coaching too. Like, I think bringing in these coaches that relate to these players and that have been there before, you know, that played in the league. And because I think of, like, even though this is not like a powerhouse like up there with UConn, but like Duke women, like I think of like Kara Lawson, like she's doing an incredible job with that program. Like, I mean, like off the court and on the court. So I think like I think these schools are figuring out, like, okay, we need coaches that our players are going to relate to. And we need coaches that actually care about these players. So I do think we're going to see a lot of different competition in the coming years. Like, I don't think there's not going to be like one dynasty anymore. I think we're going to start having different championships, different champions like every year. And I love it. Like, I love going into the tournament and not knowing who's gonna win. Because if you asked me 5 years ago or like 6 years ago, UConn. We know UConn is going. Like, unless somebody's getting hurt, it's UConn. So I think that's what makes it like so much fun. And that's what brings fans from women's college basketball following the WNBA, because they want to follow, like, once Paige and Aaliyah Boston get to the league, like, I feel like the fandom of the WNBA is going to get even bigger, like
Caitlin
even
too.
more than what it is now. Yeah. Like, I think that it's these players, and they're like shining. They're like dogs.
It translates to, for me, and I'll scream this from the rooftops until something happens. Expansion. It's time for expansion.
Yes.
All these markets that are getting more exposure because of the college teams, expand. I know it's going to be a cost and an investment for the league.
It's worth it.
NBA, for these cities, but it's time.
Because if you look at a lot of these players, like beyond like mid-second round, a lot of them, unfortunately, not because of talent, but because of backlogs of veterans and different things like that. You have vets too that just can't make teams because there were just so many players. So there's so many players, but so few spots. I think there were like 66, either 66 or 88 or something. I forgot the number exactly, but there were a ridiculous amount of women who applied to be draft eligible. And it's not to say like they don't have the talent to do so, but if there are only 8 teams and like 15 roster spots, what can you do? Like, where's the growth? I think we've seen, and you talked about it, Chanel, like there are so many different players, right, who are going to be these stars, these blockbuster players. The game is better than ever. Every draft class, it gets faster, better shooting, better dribbling, better everything, right? So it's natural. We had the highest ratings, not only in the NCAA tournament, but also the WNBA finals. Now it's time to expand and to grow and really invest into the league, because unlike in the 90s where everyone was like, oh my gosh, and then it faltered off. Well, it was just beginning. Now it's hit its stride, it's hit its growth. We have all these different programs that have all these different talents, all these different talented players. This is a better time than ever to expand the league because there is a desperate need to. And I think even if you expand it, honestly, it's not going to be a drop off of talent like it was in the NBA, where like a couple of those teams, they needed a couple years and then it got to a good source. No, we already have perfectly capable players that unfortunately just have to go overseas instead of actually being in the W because they just can't make a roster.
And I think that would benefit the WNBA more because you do limit the amount of players who go overseas. So now you are limiting the amount of injuries that can occur with them going over there. And now they have to come back over here and try to tough that situation out. And a lot of times they aren't able to play a season because they've gone over there and tore an ACL or something like that. So it's more beneficial if you can keep your players here at home, where they can work out here and play here, train in the off season here, and things like that.
No, that's a fact. So before we wrap up, so the first round is complete. Completely unpredictable, seriously, other than the first two picks. So the last pick, Connecticut Sun got Nia Clouden. Now, I was expecting her to go a little bit higher, I think, on my draft, but her role is kind of the same as what I thought Lexi Hull was going to do, like getting somebody from three, not someone who's going to come in and be a star, because you don't need that. Your Connecticut Sun, you have your roster. Your roster is fine. You just need a few pieces to take you over that hump, take you over that sky storm hump. So I think that, she's quick. She can make her own shots. She can make shots for other people. So I think that I think that's a good move for Connecticut Sun. I would like to see them get over that hump, just because I don't know if their window is closing, because I do think that, like, maybe last year and year before, like, they had a perfect shot to win it all. Of course, it's hard when you are like going up against the Storm. Like, that wasn't even fair. Like, it's just not fair. But I do think that I don't know if she's going to come in and make an immediate impact, but I do think that she is going to make an impact for that team if they do keep her, on the roster, and they keep her on the team. I think that she can be an amazing addition. And these girls don't have to come in and make instant impact. Like, as long as you are like adding to the team, like, I think that's perfect, because not all these teams need and up someone to come in and be a franchise player. Only the Fever and the Dream need that. And Dallas a little bit, but like these teams like the Aces and the Sun and Sparks, like, they don't need someone to come in and be, like rookie of the year. They don't need that. So I like the pick. I want to hear what you guys think about the pick.
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think, they went with somebody who can definitely come in and be serviceable, even if that is, coming off the bench, even if she's going to have to, be deep on the bench and come off that way. I think they definitely got somebody who is serviceable in that right.
Man, it is always a plus to have somebody who's a pure scorer, can do things and doesn't have to do a lot. So come on, more points definitely needed. And also too, like, I think this is what they wanted from like Rachel Banham, and Rachel Banham really hadn't panned out. So you get somebody who can do that. Hopefully she does pan out better. And we've seen guards for the most part start to do better. So hopefully this could work out. And like you said, growth and development doesn't need to happen now, but eventually towards the future. So keep it going and keep that improvement up.
Maybe I'm just a hater, but it's just an interesting pick to me because Henny's still on the board. And maybe it's because she's a smaller guard. I think this
draft is not giving.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because she's a smaller guard and we've seen a lot of big guards going early, but it's shocking to me that it's round 2 and Henny hasn't been picked up. I had her in round 1 for sure.
Yeah. It's that shades of like Crystal Dangerfield, where people like kind of underrate like ability for poise, right? Ability to pass the ball, really ability to think, even though I feel like she's better like scorer and facilitator also than Crystal too. Like, there's a value in having an ability to just facilitate the offense, keep control. And then she also has defense as well.
I was gonna say
way too caught up in height and athleticism. And it seems like for the most part, it has been athleticism, because Colleen also has it too. And she's less athletic than some of these other forwards and bigs that have gone off the board. So I have no idea what's happening. It's you talked about preference, Chanel. Gracie, you talk about randomness. It feels like that to me.
and I think that, and I do think that it's her size, but like I've seen people come in. I've seen small guards come in and make an impact. Like, look at
Yes.
Jordan Canada. Like,
Yes.
you know what I
Because
mean? Like,
small guards can be a pest.
seriously, and I think that Destiny is so suffocating on defense. I feel like she can score, but like defensively, like I think defense is something like you really cannot teach. Like defense is effort. You know what I'm saying? Like defense is instinct. So I'm a little salty that she didn't no one took her yet. I do think it's the size thing. I do. If she was big, she would be off the board, definitely. I did want to ask before we get off of here, like, okay, so we got through the first round. Anything stood out to anyone other than like the Destiny, like not being off the board? Anything like of note?
I'm still shocked that no UConn players, man. I'm not over it.
That is
I'm
like,
not over
I'm
it.
like,
Final.
What is going on? I'm not over it.
but I don't
I
have
think
an
Indiana,
argument.
yeah, I think Indiana though seriously has done a good job in this draft so far. I think they picked up a lot of really good pieces. And something you said earlier, again to hit on, is how can they mesh all of these players together? I think the talent is there. But you have to find a way to make it work because there's a lot of talent within this league. And so that's something that you're going to have to combat and figure out how to win games. And so I think they have their task cut out for them. But as far as the draft goes, in the first round of the draft, I think the Indiana Fever did well.
Yeah, I also like Atlanta getting Rain and then going ahead and getting Naz too. Listen, they're not going to be a good team this year. They just simply don't have enough talent. Look at all those other teams; they have a lot more. They have a lot more talent, and they traded away some of their talent. They had too much. They didn't really know what they were doing. I hope that this year they don't do as well. So next year too, they can get a Haley, they can get an Aaliyah Boston, and then boom, now you have a great foundation going forward and can do some great things because Atlanta was on the cusp. They had Angel were doing some things and then just fell apart. So hopefully they can get it back together.
Yeah, I think that for me, I think I'm interested to see what the Aces do because the Aces is a team that I kind of always root for, just because of like their roster. I just think that they're a good team. So to see them get who did they get? They got Maya Hollingshed and Kirsten Bell. I think that that's going to fit, even though I didn't have it. But I think that that's something that they have a lot of vets on that team and people who can help them navigate throughout the league. So I am like pretty interested to see what the Aces do with those two picks in particular.
I'm interested in seeing just how the Sparks season goes. I think we know that they made a lot of free agency moves. And so they look like a really stacked roster right now. But you know how the world of sports is. Your roster can look so dope on paper and it not pan out the way that you think it would. But I mean, hopefully the Sparks can become that top team again, that they once were before. And right now they look like they have the roster to do so. But we'll see how everything pans out.
Lexi Brown, Liz Campage, Jordan Canada, Kennedy Carter, the Guma K's, Katie Lucen, Chrissy, they are stacked. Amanda Zalby, amazing. But we've seen stacked teams not do well in the NBA, so maybe it won't. In the W, if they don't go deep into the playoffs, it's an issue. But you have Derek Fisher, so maybe that's the biggest issue they have.
You might not play people. I don't know.
I know, right?
No, this was like great. Like I loved breaking this down. Before we get off, I want you guys to tell everyone where they can follow you guys.
Who's going first? Me? Okay.
Hey, since you all see, come
on. I'm Mia. You can find me on Twitter at I am Mia_me, M-I, on Instagram at _Mia.me.
I am Andrea. You can find me. Oh, Destiny finally went to the fever. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
Right.
I like that placement.
So we
Love it.
win and so
I
we
like that for
lose.
her.
You like that for her?
So we
I
win.
love it.
Yeah,
I like that she was chosen, man, because she deserves it. She deserves the world.
she was frustrated.
She should be. She honestly
Yeah.
should be, because it took too long. But she'll prove them wrong. I believe in you,
Yep.
Destiny. Get that dog in you.
Definitely.
My name is Andrea. You can find me Bordy McBoard on most social medias. BOREDYMCBORED. On Twitter, there's an underscore in between, but on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, a lot of other places, it's just all one word. Go ahead, follow me.
And I'm Grace. You can find me at I am Grace Mercer on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. IAMGRACEMERCER. So yeah, follow me there.
Awesome. And then you can follow me at Chanel Starling, SHANELL Starling on Instagram, and on Twitter, I am the Coco Chanel. You can also follow Spot on Sports on Instagram at spot__ on sports. And also this recording will be on the YouTube page. Just type in Spot on Sports and make sure you subscribe and follow all of these wonderful women that were on the show today. Thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you, Grace. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Mia. This was amazing.